bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Pennsylvania's primary election will be here before you know it, but after it's all said and done, will Democrats give peace a chance? Hi, I'm Janelle Wolf, and you're watching Comcast Newsmakers. Thanks for being here. Joining me now is Democratic strategist and CN8 political analyst Steve Ayscue. Today we're talking about after it's all over, after the big dance. Is it possible for the Democrats to just get along?
Let's hope so, Janelle. It's going to be a rough ride the next few months leading up to the August convention in Denver. It's going to be interesting to watch. There's 9 states and territories that are going to be in play after Pennsylvania, and that may not even determine the fate of the Democratic nominee. So as a result, we're probably going to see it head off to the convention, and I don't know if it'll be brokered so easily as everyone suggests, but it's going to be very interesting to watch.
I've heard a lot about Pennsylvania's primary date just being so late, so it's hard to imagine there's actually ones that are after ours. Which ones are they?
Well, there are a number of states, but and territories in Puerto Rico, for example, Montana, after Pennsylvania. But even so, not enough to make up the difference in delegates to win the nomination. You need 2,025 to clinch the nomination on the Democratic side. John McCain's already clinched on the Republican side. But the issue becomes, even after Pennsylvania, it's not going to be enough. And even if Hillary Clinton were to win all of them, Barack Obama already maintains a roughly 100 pledged delegate lead among the delegates. So it's going to come down to superdelegates in the end. There are about 796 of them, and they are elected officials, members of Congress, members of the Senate and House, members of the Democratic National Committee, former presidents, and presidential contenders. And they will probably be the ones that decide this thing in the end. And the question becomes, Janelle, whether or not these are people who are going to abide by the will of the people and the majority of the voters or the pledged delegates, or they're going to make an inside political decision as to what's best for their own agenda. And that's going to be very interesting to watch.
So were all these primary elections leading up to Pennsylvania all for naught?
It could very well be. Now remember something, a little bit of history. The whole idea of superdelegates came about after 1972 and the 1976 presidential primaries on the Democratic side. A lot of the insiders weren't happy with George McGovern. They weren't happy with Jimmy Carter. And so the idea behind superdelegates was to choose someone that the insiders could all agree on. And I'm not so sure that that's the case right now, because you look at every national poll on the Democratic side, you look at everything internally, even among superdelegates, are deeply divided on who they want to see as a nominee, Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. So as a result, you're going to see a very intense debate emerge among the Democratic leadership throughout the country in the next few months, and we'll see whether or not they can come to a conclusion on their own before the convention. I don't think that's going to happen given the amount of money they've raised so far. Something
worth mentioning too is that many of these superdelegates are also up for election themselves.
That is
How
correct.
will that come into play?
Well, it comes into play twofold. One is that they need to raise a substantial amount of money for their House seats and for their Senate seats, and that has a significant impact on their races this year. The longer this goes on the Democratic side, the tougher it's going to be for them to raise money, because all the stakeholders, the special interest groups and so on in Washington that raise the most money are going to be focused on the presidential race still. So the longer that goes, the more it hurts them. Second, they're also going to look for a contender, a nominee, who can help them in the fall in their districts and in their states. And that remains to be seen, given the division you see in the larger states, Hillary Clinton winning, although her numbers were anemic in some of those larger states. Barack Obama winning in some of the smaller states. He's only won 2 major states, Illinois and Missouri. But nevertheless, you know, they have to make a calculated political decision on what's in their own interests in the end.
Almost out of time now, but all the while, John McCain is kind of sitting back like the mouse that might roar at some point. Do you think that, you know, as Obama and Hillary are kind of bickering amongst themselves, that in the end, you know, McCain might just come out on top here?
Well, he does have that advantage of being behind the scenes. Sometimes being in the news is always a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing that you're not in the news. And it actually defines the Democratic candidates a little bit more. And I think in his case, his big problem is going to be fundraising. And now that he has the president's support, we're going to see how that goes.
You've got to keep that temper in check, too.
That's right.
Steve, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Janelle.
And I'm Janelle Wolf. You've been watching Comcast Newsmakers, exclusively produced by Comcast.